Hello, Michael Chigani, and this is Straight Talk. With me today is the Financial Secretary, Mr. Paul Chan.
Hello, Michael.
Thank you very much for doing the honor of being here. Now, you presented your budget last week.
Yes.
And, it was very well received because you handed out $10,000 to every adult Hong Kong citizen, right? Your popularity has shot up. Now, before we start, please have a look at a bite.
Okay. This is the philosophy of this term of government.
Your philosophy or the chief executive?
No across the board indiscriminate cash handouts.
So you agree with that?
This is the...
do you agree with not giving cash handouts?
This is the philosophy of this term of government.
Do you agree with it?
This is the philosophy of this term of government.
But you won't say whether you will agree with it or not.
This is the philosophy of this term of government.
I think you said that 4 times, Mr. Financial Secretary. That was last year. You were sitting right here, and I asked you whether you would hand out money, and you said no. And I asked you whether it was your decision or the chief executive's decision. You said it was the philosophy of this government without answering my question. But you handed out $10,000 this time. What changed the philosophy?
Well, this is an exceptional measure in exceptional circumstances because we want to revive the economy. We want to encourage people to come out to spend after the current epidemic. That's why we try to give everybody $10,000 along with other one-off relief measures so that when the epidemic is over, people please come out to spend to help our SME, to help our business.
Will you pocket the $10,000 or will you donate that to charity? Because you qualify too.
Yeah, I donated my salary to the charity and I will use this money with additional commitment to help stimulate the economy.
So you will use the money to go out and buy things?
Yep.
Okay, I want to ask you again, is this $10,000 your philosophy or the philosophy of the chief executive?
Certainly, this particular initiative is an exceptional initiative. I did have discussed with the chief executive and has secured her support before I can announce this.
So it was her decision, not your decision?
Well, this is a teamwork.
But it was her philosophy not to give, so why has she changed her philosophy?
Well, it is up to us during the current difficult economic environment to make good use of this physical reserve of the Hong Kong SAR to help our business and to help relieve the burden on our people.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this, and remember, I hope you'll be here again next year if you're still Financial Secretary, which I'm sure you will be. I'm going to ask you again, is this the one and only time you'll give cash handouts?
Well, this is exceptional measure in exceptional circumstances. We all want to have a better economy, a better situation.
So will you be handing out money next year, or is it just an exceptional case this time?
This is an exceptional measure in exceptional circumstances.
Which means you won't do it ever again.
We have to be very careful in terms of using these exceptional measures.
Now I'm going to, you're repeating what you said last year. Now I'm going to ask you another thing. You just mentioned you donated your salary, and so did all the senior government officials, the bureau secretaries, and so on. Now, the chief executive makes over $400,000 a month. You yourself make almost $400,000 a month. The total donation to the community chest involved maybe 30, 40 people, but it amounts to $10 million. That's a lot of money. I have to ask you this question. Are you, the chief executive, and the others who make so much money, are you worth the money? Because people are saying Hong Kong is being governed very badly.
Well, we have been...
Are we getting value for money? Let me put it that way.
We have been trying very hard to serve the community. Indeed, hand on our heart, we have been trying our best. But of course, there are always room for improvement. And we will be happy to listen to the views of the people and to further improve the different area of services to the extent that we can.
But then $400,000 plus for the chief executive. We went through 6-7 months of social unrest. The government's popularity is so low. Is it value for money? Are we getting value for money from our government officials?
Well, as you can see, we have been trying very hard. But of course, at the end of the day, it is the people of Hong Kong to be the judge for our performance, which we respect. But on the other hand, take for example of the recent fight against epidemic. We have been trying very hard in terms of instituting various measures, in terms of rolling out, say for example, anti-epidemic fund, rolling
People
out
have to
measures
fight
in the budget.
for face masks. They can't even buy face masks. So how can you say you're doing a good job?
Face mask is challenging, not just in Hong Kong, but also now seems to be in most of the areas being affected by this epidemic. And as you can see in the anti-epidemic fund as well as in the budget, we are rolling out measures to help us in the future at the moment to tackle the issue and in the future to build up strategic reserves.
Now, you know, your budget, you gave total, I think, $120 billion,
Yes.
right? And you're forecasting a deficit of $140 billion, right? $120 billion is a huge handout.
Yes.
Some people say that you did it to win back government's popularity, that you're trying to buy off the people with a $10,000 handout. Yet, last Saturday, that didn't seem to succeed because you had people coming out protesting yet again. You cannot buy people with a handout, can you?
Michael, that is an irrelevant consideration. For the current relief measures, including the cash handout, the single objective is, in face of this very difficult economic situation, how to stimulate the economy, how to revive the economy, how to revive the economy and safeguarding jobs. That is the only objective.
You said hand
measures.
on your heart earlier. Hand on your heart again. There was no political consideration in the big handout?
Yes, no such consideration.
It was only to help people revive the economy.
Yes.
But you also mentioned that you hope that money will come in the summer, and by that time you're forecasting that the virus will be gone. How do you know that? The virus could still be here in the summer.
Yeah, the situation is evolving.
Yeah, but you said that, you know, go out and spend. By that time, the coronavirus will be gone. So in late summer, when people get the money, go and spend. But if it's still there, they cannot spend it, can they?
Well, depends. You know, the whole situation is evolving. I still remember at the beginning of this outbreak, some of the experts told us that, well, this virus cannot survive under high temperature, 31 degrees Celsius.
Oh, they say that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, that's true. So from the current situation, we are trying to cope with the existence of this virus. Recently, you can see that the government start to resume these services. The community seems to be getting better prepared in preventing and fighting against this virus. So let's do our best to plan for it and see how it comes out, how it turns out in summer months. But we cannot put everything stall. We cannot stop the various economic sectors like in the past. So it is important to get us prepared so that if the virus situation got improved, encourage people to come out to spend to help revive the economy.
Okay, that's fine now, but you know, you had a reminder on last Saturday, of people coming out. That part of Hong Kong's problem has not been solved.
True.
Okay, 6-7 months of social unrest, that hasn't gone away.
True.
Government has not solved that problem. It came back again last Saturday. We've got over 7,000 people, mostly young people, who've been arrested because of this. Another 115 were arrested last Saturday. Mr. Financial Secretary, do you really think that such mass arrests is the solution to the social problem? Surely it is not. You cannot just arrest people and hope the issue will go away. It will not.
Michael, law enforcement is one thing, but on the other hand, the social incidents over the past few months did reveal deep-seated issues in the community, which has to be resolved. But at the moment, we are facing tremendous economic difficulties. Yes, Hong Kong may have different sort of...
But forgive me for interrupting, that economic difficulties were not there at the beginning of those protests. That came just with the coronavirus.
Well, the economy started to suffer from the latter part of last year because of the social incidents, because of the violence attacks. But the situation got aggravated because of the current epidemic. The epidemic attack could be short-term, that there were disruptions. Hopefully disruptions would be short-term, but the deep-seated conflict is something that we have to address, but we do need to find room to do that. What I'm trying to appeal to the public is, let's, for the moment, set aside the differences. Hong Kong is our home. Although we may have shortcomings here and there, but let's set aside the differences for the moment. At the end of the day, Hong Kong is still our home, which allows diversity and freedom of development. Let's work together, move forward to tackle the economic issues, and through dialogue and other means to try to seek better mutual understandings and to find solutions.
Quick break, Susan, don't go away. Thanks for staying with us. This is Straight Talk. With me today is the Financial Secretary, Mr. Paul Chan.
Yeah, Michael.
Now, Mr. Financial Secretary, you said that there are deep-seated problems that caused the civil unrest. You, as the Financial Secretary, can solve some of these problems, but you didn't seem to do that in your budget. You handed out money, yes, but you didn't, and you gave money to businesses and so on. You gave money to the tourist industry. But those were not the deep-seated problems.
Some of the deep-seated issues need to be tackled. Some of the deep-seated issues are structural, need to be addressed carefully. It is not possible in one budget to solve all these problems. But I do acknowledge there are deep-seated issues such as wealth gap, such as housing issues. There are also aspirations in terms of the political development. But all this need to have dialogue and discussions and debate among the community.
When? I mean, the CE promised dialogue, but that she had one, and then that's the end of that.
She's very keen in terms of resuming the dialogue, but this has temporarily disrupted because of the epidemic.
Let me ask you a difficult question. Do you think she handled the social unrest well? Most people say she didn't.
We in the government, as one team, have been trying very hard.
Did she handle it well?
Yeah, there may be room for us as a team to improve, but we have been trying very hard.
Now, you said housing is one of the deep-seated problems, but you did say recently that property prices are not going to drop as they did like SARS, right? Then it really dropped. But this time you say it's not because the situation is very different. If this doesn't cause prices to drop, Hong Kong people will never be able to afford homes.
Well, I gave that answer in the context of people appealing to me to relax the demand-side cooling measures. I don't think this is the right moment to relax all those demand-side measures. There has been gradual downward adjustments in the property market.
But still unaffordable,
Still
right?
unaffordable.
When will it be affordable?
Well, to address the housing affordability, relying on drop in property price may not be too realistic. In the government, our thinking is that we need to provide more subsidized flat for sale.
That's long term, Mr. Financial Secretary.
It is not just long term. We start to roll out more.
So expecting prices to drop is not realistic. That's not the way to make homes affordable.
That is not a, well, put it this way. We are happy to see property markets orderly adjustment. We have been monitoring the situation very closely. But on the other hand, we do not see the risk of the quick kind of downward drop in property price. In terms of tackling the affordability of residential housing, the key point is to increase supply, particularly subsidized flat for sale. And we are working towards that objective.
Okay, now, as I said at the beginning of the show, that your budget was very well received. I think all political parties agree with that. And your popularity has risen. There has been a suggestion that you qualify to become chief executive. Now, do you want to be?
Well, the budget is a product of collective teamwork. As I mentioned earlier, I also consulted the CE as to the key initiative in the budget. So, indeed, the budget is the product of collective teamwork.
That was not my question. Do you have any ambition to become the chief executive?
My priority at the moment is to fight the epidemic and use the resources
in the
to
future,
help people.
In the future, do you have any political ambitions to become the next chief executive?
My total energy and attention are now directed towards helping the economy, relieving people's burden, fighting the
What should I read into that, Mr. Financial Secretary? That you're not giving me a straight answer. What should I read into that? That you're not ruling it out?
Well, my energy are totally devoted to my current job.
So you won't say no to the chief executive, nor would you say yes. You're just not answering the question.
Well, this is not something that, on my agenda, in terms of using my energy, my total attention are still...
For now, but not in the future, right? I mean, there's going to be another chief executive election in a couple of years from now.
I have to do my job properly. That is my number one
Well,
priority.
I don't know how to read your answers, but I'll let it go for now. You mentioned that we cannot completely always rely on our current tax structure, right? There could be structural problems later on. How do you plan to find new sources of revenue? Because I think we do need new sources of revenue, right?
Globally, the tax landscape has been changing. And under OECD, they are also talking about minimum effective tax because they have seen different jurisdictions use tax policies as a means to compete. That will have an impact on our low simple tax system, which is also territorial. So we need to look at this seriously. That's why in the budget I mentioned about inviting people from the business sector, academic, and also tax experts to study this and give the government suggestions.
Are we talking about increasing taxes?
Well, that is one option, but we at this stage would not rule out any particular option. We keep an open position to look at different possibilities and try to wait. But at the end of the day, this has also to be discussed and debated upon in the community.
Sure. Now, I've just got a few minutes left. This may not be in your area, but I have to ask you this since you're here. There was a report that the chief executive has sent a report to the central government complaining about not having support from the executive council, from the pro-establishment camp. She has not denied that report. How true is that report?
Michael, it is speculation. Yeah.
Do you know about that report? When you say it's speculation, either a report exists or it doesn't exist. So you cannot say it's speculation. Either it's there or it's not there. Is it there?
Michael, it's inappropriate for me to comment on that. As you rightly point out, the question has been raised with the Chief Executive Office.
But she has not answered. She's not denied it. So we all expect that it is true, right?
Well, I cannot comment on that. I'm sorry.
Okay, now, I don't know whether in a few years' time, if you still want to come here, I should be addressing you as Mr. Chief Executive rather than as the Financial Secretary. You haven't given me a straight answer as to whether you have any ambition to become the Chief Executive. I'll ask you one more time. Do you have that ambition?
Michael, my priority is to help the people of Hong Kong to ride through these difficulties, to support our business, and to fight the epidemic.
Okay, looking down into the future, our finances are still quite healthy, despite the money that you've given out. People are happy that you give them $10,000 each. But as you say, deep-seated problems are still there, right?
Yes.
In the coming years, if I ask you to forecast how Hong Kong will be like, do you think that people will still be as unhappy as they are now? Because people are very unhappy. They're not happy with the police performance. They're not happy with the performance of the chief executive. I'm not saying this. Opinion polls are saying this, as you well know, right? How do we get over this? How do we win trust back? People trusting the government and the police. Are you optimistic that's going to happen?
Well, we have to work together. We have to work together to establish platforms and to find opportunities for frank dialogue, to seek better mutual understanding, to identify the issues, and to try to find solutions to move us forward.
Is the current chief executive the right person to do that?
We as a team have been trying very hard.
You've told me that before. Is she the right person to do that as the leader?
Yeah, we have been trying very hard, and we work as one team.
Okay, now, next year's budget, do you expect to be a good one, a bad one? I know you're looking to the crystal ball. Are we, you forecast a huge deficit, right? But we still have enough money in the bank to deal with that, right?
Yeah, but at the moment, the external environment is still very challenging. Domestically, also a lot of challenges. We need to remain vigilant and work very hard to try to revive our economy. It's going to be tough, but on the other hand, tough time never lasts.
Well, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So I'll end it right there. Thank you very much. See you next time. Good evening.